So awakened beings who have experienced truth, experience this awakening from the dream, communicate this by working backwards from their awakening into the experiences that they've had when they weren't awake, to being in a dream. So there's only three things that keep us in a dream, that are obstacles to realizing truth, realizing our true nature, realizing the true nature of all existence, realizing truth. They keep us in an illusion. There's only three things. The first, in order of most obstructing to truth, most distracting from truth, most keeping us from truth, the first is thoughts. Thoughts are the number one thing that keep us from truth. They are not truth, and they keep us from truth. When we let go of thoughts, when we're in a space of samadhi where there's no thoughts, free of all thoughts, we're in truth automatically, because that's what we are. Thoughts keep us away from that. They distract us. And we know that because when we're free of thoughts, we're free of the distractions and we're awake. So number one is thoughts. Number two is the sense organs in our body. Seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching. And the sense objects, the world, form, what we see, what we hear. All of those are distractions from truth, because the essential nature of what we are is formless. It's not of form at all. It's a pure energy, pure consciousness. That's the source of all this. And the third is the body itself, which includes the mind, thought, and the limited sense organs that we have. Those three things are the only thing that keep us from truth, from being awake. They keep us in a dream. And in this world of the dream and societies, these are the most important things. These are the things we honor the most, our thoughts, our sense organs and sense objects, what we see and hear and taste and touch and feel, and our body. Keeping the body alive and healthy, that's very important to us, fundamentally important to us. These three things are the most important things to us, and these three things are exactly what keep us from truth, exactly what keep us lost in illusion, exactly what keep us in a lie, not realizing our true nature, not realizing what we are. So all awakened beings throughout the past 10,000 years have experienced this, what truth really is, what they really are, and the obstacles that prevented them from realizing it before, throughout all their lifetimes. So since these are so important to us, what do we do to be free of them, to be free of the obstacle? It's just a question of shifting our attention. When our attention is not on thoughts, we're happy. We're in a state of peace, bliss, love, truth. This is what we call stillness or silence. Be still and know that I am God. Be still of what? Of thoughts and sense objects. Sense are senses. So part of meditation throughout the history of spiritual teaching has been close the door of our sense objects. So we meditate with our eyes closed, but there may still be sounds. There could even be internal visions, in our mind. But when we don't put attention on them, that's how we close the door. We don't have to resist them. We just shift our attention from the sense objects, from our sense organs and the sense objects, and from the body. So in awakening, that all awakened beings have said that the world disappears, the body disappears, the self disappears, thoughts disappear when we experience truth. These all come from the mind, from thought, from our sense organs and sense objects and the body. In samadhi, Nirvikalpa Samadhi, which is awakening itself, all these things disappear. Why? Because our attention is not on them. That's all. Do they actually disappear? No. Our attention is not on them. When our attention is not at all on thought, does it mean that your brain is not still creating thoughts? No, it's still creating thoughts. You haven't stopped thoughts. Your attention isn't on them, so they don't appear. They don't attract your attention. They're just not there to you because your attention is not on them. It's on something else. Like in early meditation practice on our breath. We can have our attention enough on the breath so it's not on thought, and then we're happy. We're free of thought. We're free of putting our attention on thought. So it's just a question of shifting our attention away from these distractions of thought, of sense objects, and our sense organs, and of the body. We put it on something else. Now, the challenging thing for this, because when we haven't experienced Nirvikalpa Samadhi and been free of this and experienced our true self, the challenging thing is we haven't experienced that yet. So whereas awakened beings are talking backwards from the experience, if you haven't had the experience yet, you don't know how to put your attention on that experience. What is beyond all thought, all form, all senses, and a body. What's beyond all that? Until you've experienced that, it is your true nature. It is what you are. So you can, by letting go of these things, by shifting attention away from these things, you experience your true nature, what's always here. This pure beingness itself. Not I am, but just being. Pure, limitless being. And you'll experience that as energy. And you'll experience that energy as bliss. So when you've experienced that, then it's easy to shift your attention to that from these distractions. Until then, you have to trust that there's something more here. Something infinitely more than what you think. Infinitely more than what you experience. Trust that. And allow your attention to come to this. Realize that everything else is a distraction. Whatever you think about what I'm saying is a distraction. Your body is a distraction. Your sense objects are a distraction. Everything in this dream is a distraction. What is not of this dream? What is not of form or thought? And when I say bliss, that you experience this as bliss, this is not a feeling or an emotion, or it's not like that. It's the very nature of what you are. It's always here, unchanging. You can't get it by trying to get it because it is what you are. But one of the hard things about waking up to our true nature is we're trying to get something. And what we're trying to get, we are. You see, we can't get what we are. We are it. We've always been it. We can never really be anything other than it. So when we say, I want to get it, we're imagining that we're not it. that it's somewhere out there, somewhere in the future, somewhere not now. And that's not true at all. That's an illusion. That's a lie. So we just need to let go. As one of my Zen teachers used to say, put it all down. Put what down? Everything. Everything we know. That's all a dream. Put it all down and see what's left. What remains when we let go of everything? That's your true nature. That's your being. That's what you are. And everything else is. You don't have to try hard to do this. This is not a trying. This is not an active letting go. This is just letting go. It's effortless. We're used to doing, and this is not doing. This is the absence of doing. You're just returning attention to what you've always been. Your very being itself. Being itself. about 10 years ago, a very awake guy, Sahajananda, he was teaching in Mexico at a yoga center, said to me, I had been living in this very intimate connection with God for 20 years or so, sort of just taking over my life, leading everything in my life. It was beautiful, blissful, wonderful. But I still felt there was a me in God, me in relationship to God, me taken care of by God, me being held by God, me being guided by God. And I told him about this, and he said, Rumi says that the most humble thing that a human can say is, I am God, because then the human, the person, no longer exists. And it was just the right time to hear that. It was just as something happens with awake beings, they just know exactly what to say it exactly. It's not them. They're open to their true nature. That's what's doing it. And it's the same true nature as all of us are, so it knows what the right thing to say is. It's just saying it to itself. It knows it's the right time. And it wasn't immediate, but then that self dissolves into God, like a river coming into the ocean. It's no longer a river. It's just the ocean. The river has disappeared. It's absorbed in the ocean. The illusion of a river is not there. And in fact, the rivers come from the ocean anyways. It's all water. And this is dissolving into God. Not something that we can really do on our own. It just happens. But because everything is this one undivided, pure energy, pure beingness that creates everything, all matter, all everything. Everything that exists is nothing but this. This is the source of everything. This is everything. It's inevitable that we'll come back to our true nature again. That we won't be lost in the dream forever. Eventually we will come back to our true nature, to what we are. And when we do, we see that everything is this. Everyone is this. Everything is this. Every movement and action and thought and feeling and emotion is this pure energy. That's the source of all of it. Every particle of matter, quarks and electrons, it's all this. It all comes from this, and it's never not this. This is the essential nature of reality, of truth. This is what our thoughts, our sense organs, and our body keep us from experiencing. Because through our sense organs, we see everything as form, as appearance, as separate. We don't see it as pure energy. We see it as separate. Even quantum physicists only see form. They cannot see this energy. It's invisible to the sense organs, the limited human sense organs. Yet it is the fundamental nature of all reality. It is what we are. So right now you may have a thought of this, of what this might be, which is not bad. It's putting your thoughts in the right direction. But only through the experience can you really understand it. And that will happen too. Maybe it is already. It's not far from you. It is your nature. It's your being itself. There's nothing that could be closer to you than this. When you let attention move from the distractions, you will experience your true nature, the beingness, the energy that is you, the source of all existence. It's not enough to think it, but the experience will come if it hasn't already.